She's been here for about 5 years, and I've been here for about 2 years now.
Okay. The children have stable residency with the father here in El Dorado. They're enrolled in school in El Dorado. I don't want to have the parenting plan as it is, where it's basically at Mr. Pohl's discretion. I want to set specific weekends that Miss Pohl will have parenting time. She's in a difficult living situation, but I don't think that should preclude her from having parenting time. And I think the current de facto plan basically has been she's been having all of the weekends that aren't 3-day weekends. I'd like to try to nail down some specificity on when those. You think it's about every 4th week?
Yes, Your Honor. Said I had Monday off. It'll be Tuesday next week. So yeah, but every 4 weeks, Your Honor.
Okay, so this weekend would be a weekend that typically they would be with Miss Pohl?
Yes, Your Honor. As soon as I'm going into work when I'm done here, as soon as I figure out how late I'm going to be, then I'll get back to El Dorado and pack the kids up after school, and we'll get them over there.
Okay, well, I'm going to order on a temporary basis then that Miss Pohl have weekend visitation every weekend except the 4th week, and this will be starting this weekend. So my understanding is that the next 3 weekends would not be your 3-day weekend, then the 4th would be.
Yes, Your Honor. See if I can go look at a calendar just right quick. We had one. Okay. Yes, Your Honor. So it would be 4 weeks.
All right. So the next 3 weekends would be parenting time with Miss Pohl, and then the 4th weekend would be parenting time with Mr. Pohl, and then follow that same pattern. Do you think you can craft that into language into a journal entry, Mr. Gutenberg?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then typically when you get off work, Mr. Pohl, then you drive the kids over to the Motel 6?
Yes, Your Honor.
What time do you typically arrive there with the children?
My schedule can vary. If I get off early and they get it, I can get them usually about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And then that's usually about the time on Sunday, or, if it's a Monday off or something, they don't have school. Then it's about the same time for pickup, between 6 and 7.
Okay. Ms. Pohl, do you agree that that's about the time they usually arrive?
Yes.
All right. I think the language should say they should be delivered, at a reasonable time after Mr. Pohl gets off work, but no later than 7 p.m. If for some reason you have to work late and you can't get them there by 7, Mr. Pohl, you need to call Sierra and let her know that you're running a little bit late. And then
Yes,
what
sir.
time do you usually pick them up on Sunday?
Pickup time's usually about the same time, between 6 and 7 p.m., Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Pohl, do you agree that that's when it typically is?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'll just order that they be, Mr. Pohl will pick them up between 6 and 7 on the Sunday. All right. Mr. Gutenberg, any other specifics that need to be addressed as far as a temporary parenting plan? I mean, I don't know when we're going to finalize this divorce, hopefully fairly soon, but we probably need to take into consideration Thanksgiving and Christmas while we're here, just so we have something in the event, so we don't have to come back later. What have the parties been doing for Thanksgiving?
I had the children last year for Thanksgiving, so they'll be with Sierra for Thanksgiving this year.
Okay. Any objection to that, Sierra?
We have always had issues with the holidays.
Well, right now I'm just talking about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Do you want to have the children for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know when they get out for Thanksgiving break? Are they off the whole week?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I'd have to look at the school schedule on the dashboard.
Okay, I don't know what El Dorado's is. Other schools in the area, I think, are typically off, but I'm going to order that her parenting time start by at least 5 o'clock on the 26th, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And if that's her weekend, then she would obviously have them through Sunday. If it's not her weekend, then Mr. Poole will have them on 5 o'clock on Friday. Halloween is on a Friday night. So that'll just fall, whoever's weekend that is will have Halloween. And then what about Christmas?
We usually kind of go, I don't know how it's going to work this year, but we usually split to where one of us has them on Christmas Eve, and then one of us has them for Christmas Day.
Who had Christmas Eve last year?
I gotta charge this up. I don't want to.
Sarah, do you remember who had them on Christmas Eve last year?
I believe I did.
Yeah, Christmas Eve last year they were with Sierra.
All right, we'll just flip flop it this year. How did that work? Did they spend the night with her, or did they spend Christmas Eve dinner and then go back to you?
Yes, Your Honor. We did. They did Christmas Eve. We picked them up Christmas morning, and then we went around and did our Christmases, and we took everything home Christmas evening, and the kids were tired. They still had some winter break after Christmas, and I had to work the next morning, so I woke the kids up with me in the morning and dropped them off with Sierra for the remainder of winter break.
All right, so they spent the night at her house last year on Christmas Eve?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll just do the opposite this year. Miss Sierra, any objection to that?
So then I would have Christmas Day.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's on a temporary basis. I mean, that could change if you all finalize a permanent parenting plan, but I just want to have this in place now in the event we're not at that point yet. Now, Mr. Gutenberg, you submitted a child support worksheet which has 0 child support. Is that what you're still proposing?
Right, that's based on the imputed income of Ms. Poole.
All right, and Ms. Poole, I assume you're not objecting to that at this point?
I am.
You're objecting to not paying child support or having a child support obligation?
Oh, no. I was confused on the child support order.
And that's just a temporary order at this point. That could change, obviously, once a permanent plan is put in place.
What about the previous? And that's why I've been confused throughout this process, because it was 2 years for the child support order from 2022.
Court that I'm aware of. This case was filed in September of 2024. Are you referring to a previous DCF? Child
Yes.
Support enforcement case?
Yeah, and that was open in 2022.
At this point, that's a separate case than this. It's not been made part of this case. All right, for purposes of a temporary order, for parenting plan, Mr. Gutenberg, anything else you think needs to be addressed?
Well, I guess one idea that just popped up now is I know there's some free parenting apps. I think given some of the back and forth conflict, maybe we should be having the parties using the co-parenting app. I know courts like to use Our Family Wizard, but it's a little pricey. Maybe App Close, I think, is pretty popular as far as the ones that don't cost any money.
Okay. Ms. Pohl, any objection to using a parenting app to communicate?
And what was that app called?
There's a free one. It's called App Close. Is that?
APPCLOSE.
I think that makes a lot of sense. That way, all the communications are recorded between the parties. If there's issues, it's easy to get those records. The particular one that's being proposed isn't at any cost to either of the parties. Any objection to using that, Ms. Pohl?
And no. And he said it was APPSE.
CLOSE.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Laptop microphone.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Gutenberg, can you get that set up and get the information to Ms. Pohl?
Yes, Your Honor. We've been able to communicate with her.
Okay. Any other aspects of a temporary parenting plan, Mr. Gutenberg?
Not at this time.
All right, Sierra, anything you'd like the court to consider for a temporary parenting plan?
The evidence that I had submitted.
What about it?
So in that was the pictures of the alcohol, and that's my most major concern right now.
Concerns with
With
alcohol
drinking.
use?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty standard in parenting plans that the parents aren't to be intoxicated during their parenting time.
Yes, and one of my concerns came from my children. There was two incidents that they told me about. One was when Jared originally took the kids from me in September. They had called me and said that they had found their father, or they had heard him pull up, and then they went outside, and it was like a short term later, and then they found him slumped over in the car, and they had to wake him up.
Okay, well, I certainly hope Mr. Pohl's not drinking to excess or being intoxicated around the children during his parenting time. Obviously, if that's the case, that's something that will be looked at.
No, Your Honor.
All right, anything else, Sierra?
So there was more incidents regarding that where my daughter has told me, and she was pretty upset because she said that her dad was really upset and ranting, as she called it, and angry, and that there were bottles, like little bottles of what she said was alcohol, and that when she had walked in, that Stephanie had looked at Jared, and then I don't know if he motioned or she motioned, and then he quickly put picked the bottles up and put it in the trash. So, and then there was a story of that my son had told me where there was an incident with like whiskey bottles that Jared had claimed a homeless person came and was drinking in the shed, so that he had to board it up.
Probably shouldn't be any drinking at all around the children. So if there's further incidents, the court will look at that when we're preparing to do a permanent parenting plan, if that's an issue, the court will take that into consideration. For now, I think the parenting plan that's been put together is appropriate for the current circumstances. Again, it's a temporary parenting plan.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There is some periods of time that I'm concerned about as far as with the children being left alone, because like if they had like in the summer when Jared is at work, the children are being left alone, and I would like and since you don't have daycare, I would like the opportunity, like if the kids had and it wasn't a scheduled like visit and they have days off, or if one of the children are sick, that they would be with me and then be picked up after, so that they're not alone. Like, for example, if there's time off and he's working, that if I could have the children during that time, or if it's like a break that I don't have the kids or it's not involved in any court-appointed parenting time.
Right. I'm hoping we have a permanent parenting plan in place before summertime. So I don't want to address that now. I want to get this temporary plan in place, and I want to get this case moving towards finalization. I'm not inclined, though I'd like to set a bench trial date, but I hate to set aside a full day of court time if we're just going to have to move it. Ms. Pohl, are you still intending to hire counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I have. I should be meeting with Brock on Wednesday.
All right. In the meantime, Mr. Gutenberg, has there been any communication between the parties regarding potential agreements on permanent parenting plan, division of assets, debts, that sort of thing?
No. Well, another thing that had been filed that was continued from the last hearing was the motion to compel production, because in her petition, Ms. Pohl indicated that she wanted spousal support. So I just, wanted a chance to review the records and see if that was appropriate, so that we're not just kind of like blindsided at the trial. Have some chance to do some analysis of that in advance, and we still don't have those records.
What records are you referring to?
Just financial records that we asked for in the request for production of documents that would substantiate a need for spousal support. I mean, it sounds very well like she might have a need for spousal support, but and until I can see some numbers, I would just have a tough time responding to that.
Okay, I'm trying to find a motion to compel in the court file. When was that filed?
I have my summary up right now.
Like June 27th, Judge. Not right now for you.
Yeah, that's it, June 27th.
Okay, it didn't make it into the court file.
Well, I think kind of beyond that, there hasn't been very much clarity, as we saw in this hearing. Ms. Pohl has a lot of sort of issues that are important to her, and I understand that, but it's not always clear exactly what's being requested. So, when we talk about setting a trial, it's hard to know, like, even what issues are contested that would be involved in that trial. So it was actually me that asked for the continuance of the last bench trial, because I was newly involved in the case, and that was basically the reason. Is I really had no idea what her position was on anything.
Okay, I get that. Let me review this motion to compel. I hadn't seen this before.
Okay.
Give me just a second. All right, Ms. Pohl, have you seen the motion to compel production of documents and things?
No.
You didn't receive a copy of this motion?
I'm sorry, let me look through my documents. Was it email or was it a paper?
It looks like it was emailed to you.
I would have to check my email.
All right, basically it's a motion asking for the documents that were requested, pay stubs, W-2s. Do you recall being asked to provide that information?
No.
You don't recall receiving the discovery requests?
I'm not sure.
All right, Mr. Gutenberg, did you have communications with her regarding these requests at some point?
Well, I know that our office here did email those. I don't recall specifically whether there was any response to it. I do remember that there was one email exchange with Ms. Cool where Ms. Paul characterized the golden rule letter as threats because where we said that we may have to pursue sanctions against her if she didn't respond. She characterized that as a threat. So to me, she did acknowledge that she had received the letter.
All right, well, it sounds like there was a discovery request for pay stubs, W-2s to be provided, which is standard in divorce cases in order to do a division of assets and debts, as well as prepare a child support worksheet. What is your current email address? You don't need to provide it here, but Mr. Gutenberg, do you have her current email address?
I believe I do. It's the one we've been using. Well, yes, I do because she emailed the court yesterday.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Gutenberg that you send those discovery requests to her again through email, as well as a copy of this motion to compel. Now, Ms. Pohl, do you have any objection to providing copies of pay stubs, W-2s?
I
so
don't
forth?
work.
Okay, you'll need to, though, fill out those discovery requests and indicate, I'm not sure exactly what, I don't get copies of the actual discovery requests as part of the court file, but I think there's a procedure typically in those where if you haven't worked, you need to indicate that. So
Okay.
they're able to utilize that information.
Okay.
So you need to make sure you comply with those discovery requests because that's all information that parties use in trying to finalize these cases. And this case has been dragging on way too long as it is. So I think what I'm going to do for now is schedule a status hearing. And I'm going to do that about 45 days out. And I'm going to ask during that time frame, Ms. Pohl, hopefully, if you're going to hire counsel, they can get on board and take care of some of that stuff. But if you're not going to be able to hire counsel, rather than continue to delay and delay, if you're going to have to represent yourself, I'm going to ask that you make good faith efforts to communicate with Mr. Gutenberg, and I'll ask him to do the same with you in order to see if there's areas that you all can agree upon in a finalization of this divorce between assets and debts and parenting plan. If not, that those areas can be identified as issues that need to be resolved at trial. Then we can figure out what we need to do, what issues need to be resolved when we come back in 45 days is the position I hope to be in. Any questions about that, Mr. Gutenberg?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Pohl?
No.
All right. Angela, can we get a date about 45 days out, please.
Judge, October 30th at 3:30.
October 30th at 3:30.
I'm available.
Okay, does that work for you, Ms. Poole?
Yes.
All right, and we can do that by Zoom again.
Will my client's appearance be required?
Preferably.
Okay,
I'm not going to require it, but sometimes it's nice to have him here or have a client here in case there's questions that he can answer that you can't.
sure. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gutenberg, I'm going to task you with drafting the temporary parenting plan that's been ordered here today. And if you can include language in that, either in that document or a separate document regarding the hearing date on October 30th.